The death toll from a Russian missile strike on an apartment building in the Ukrainian city of Dnipro this weekend has risen to 35. Rescue workers are racing to find survivors in the wreckage. People have been gathering in front of the ruins, hoping for news of loved ones. 24 residents are still reported missing. Ukraine's President Volodmyr Zelenskyy has said Russian citizens who failed to condemn the attack are cowardly. Well, for the latest, I'm now joined by our correspondent Max Sander in Kiev. Max, what's the latest news on this attack?
Right, Gad. So over the past 24 hours, Russian forces are reported to have attacked Ukraine twice with missile strikes and more than 50 times with artillery strikes across the entire country. And this follows one of the deadliest attacks on civilians so far this year, which occurred on Saturday as Russia was attacking numerous cities across the country, including Kiev. But in the central eastern town of Dnipro, as you already said, an apartment building was hit, a 9th-floor building which suffered a direct strike by a Russian rocket and collapsed entirely with many people trapped underneath the rubble. Now, as far as we know at the moment, 35 people are confirmed dead. The rescue operations have been going on for more than 40 hours now. A large number of people are still missing, but with all this time having passed, with the freezing temperatures at the moment, it becomes less and less likely for rescuers to pull more people from underneath the rubble, so this rescue operation might turn into a recovery operation quite soon.
Belarus and Russia are to conduct joint military air drills on Monday in what Ukraine fears could lead to an escalation of the invasion. The two countries have previously had joint ground training. Ukrainian President Volodmyr Zelenskyy has repeatedly warned that Russia may launch another ground offensive from Belarus. Belarusian officials said the exercises are purely defensive in nature. The joint operations are scheduled to continue until the end of this month. Now, for more on this, let's bring in Mike Martin. He's a senior fellow at the War Studies Department of King's College London. Mike, Russia and Belarus have started joint Air Force drills. The Belarusian Defense Ministry has announced that today. What does that tell us?
Good morning. So I think the first important thing to say is that Russia and Belarus have a regular series of military exercises. They are, military partners, along with other countries like Kazakhstan, and this is a regularly programmed series of events. I think overall, despite Kyiv's warnings, and of course Kyiv is very keen to make sure that the West is focused on, potential threats to Ukraine, overall I don't think that these drills signify anything in particular like preparation for an offensive that we saw, as we saw before February 24th last year.
Now, you reckon it's now only a matter of time before Belarus intervenes in the Ukraine war? Zelenskyy definitely seems to think so.
Yes, and as I said, I think it is in Ukraine's interest to keep the troubles of Ukraine in the headlines. I think we would all do that if we were Ukraine. But I think an extra front from Belarus doesn't necessarily help Russia. That's how it started the war, with 3 fronts, and it found it very difficult to control them and to supply them. And so to open up another front up here, I think would create a lot of problems for Russia. What it does do, however, is military exercises like this will cause Ukraine, just on the off chance, to tie up a lot of troops around Kyiv and in the north of the country, which it could otherwise use to attack the Russians elsewhere in the country, in the south and in the east.
Now, for a while now, there has been speculation that there will be a major offensive in the spring from the Russians. What's your take on that?
Oh, absolutely. I think both sides are planning offensives in the spring, so beginning of March sort of time. I think the Ukrainians are going to try and go south from Zaporizhia down to the Sea of Azov, down to the coast there. And I think the Russians are probably going to have a further attempt in the east, in Donbass, around where we've seen this activity recently, Bakhmut and Soledar. So both sides are going to try and have a big push in the spring.
Mike Martin there from King's College London. Thank you very much, Mike.
Thank you.